want to take you back to the moment where you realized football outside of high school was actually a reality for you. Was it a coach's phone call? Was it a great play that you made? What was that first clip, that first moment where you thought, okay, maybe I can play on Saturdays?
It was always a dream that I had. And I think that it was probably after my sophomore season. I was named the starter for my sophomore season at Xavier. And at the end of the year, got all my film together from all the games and put it all together like a little highlight tape and looked at my measurables. At that time, I was maybe 6'1", 6'2". I'm starting to get there to the frame and the size of where I thought it could be possible to be recruited and play at that next level. And while my numbers and films at that point wasn't necessarily where I wanted it to be noticed and play at that next level, it was a good starting point. And after that year, I just kind of tried my best to send it out to as many colleges as I could, tried to get as much feedback as I could from scouts and people that kind of knew what they were talking about, and kind of came to the conclusion and realized that I definitely had a shot at playing at that next level. And that's when I kind of took it more seriously and set forth on that path.
Obviously, you started your career at Penn State. What led you to Kentucky? What did you see in the Wildcats where you felt like it was the best place for you to continue?
Yeah, I mean, I loved my time at Penn State. I had a great time playing football there, as well as studying there. I was able to get my undergraduate degree there, which was amazing, at their great business school. And just it came to a point where I was in a position where the position that I play quarterback, there's only one quarterback on the field at all times. And if I want to get to my ultimate goal, which is to play professional football, I knew that I needed to be at a school that I was going to play for at least 1 or 2 years. And I just didn't know if Penn State was going to be that school for me. The person who I was competing with was right there 1 year above me, and it was hard for me to kind of get in and establish myself as the guy with him there. And just the situation just wasn't great for me. So had to kind of reach out and kind of bet on myself and look at other schools. And Kentucky was one of the first schools that reached out to me when I had decided I was transferring, and nothing was guaranteed for me. I knew that I wasn't going to be named the starter right away, but I knew that it was a team that I definitely could be the starter for. And I love the coaches and I love the school, and got there, worked hard, and got named the starter, and the rest is history.
When you got to Kentucky, did you have any immediate flashbacks of times when you were playing in high school, like certain things that sort of popped out now that I'm here at Kentucky, I've seen this before?
I think probably, now that you say that, it was really my first time being a starting quarterback really since high school. So to be in the leadership role and to be in that position where I was the guy, that was really the first time I felt that, and I felt that confidence since I was in high school. So there probably was a little bit of connection like that. And yeah, it was really cool to be named a starting quarterback and to kind of not being felt like I was held back from a leadership standpoint, and being the vocal, the kind of center of attention, really person that the starting quarterback always is for every football team. So it was cool to kind of feel like that. Obviously, when you lose, it's always your fault, and when you win, it's always your fault. And to feel that on a stage like in high school, but just magnified to a level that the SEC football brings, was really cool.
I'm curious, now that you mentioned, finally having that parallel, what's your favorite moment from your time at Xavier?
I'd say my favorite moment at my time at Xavier, even though I didn't win a state championship when I was the starting quarterback, when I was a freshman, I was asked to play up and to be on the varsity team and be there as a backup. And we ended up winning the state championship that year. So one of my biggest regrets, or just things that I wish I would have been able to do as a starter, was to win a state championship. But even to win a state championship as a backup, that's something that not a lot of people get to say. And that was a really special moment for me. And then other than that, we had a bunch of really exciting games. I remember my senior year against North Haven, we had one of like the all-time classics. You go back and watch those highlights. They're really, really cool. We ended up losing that game in overtime, but something that me and my buddies from high school still talk about to this day. So there's just always little things here and there, whether it was in the classroom or on the football field, that I'll never forget, and never trade my time at Xavier for anything.
You know, everybody nationwide and even up here in the Northeast, they talk about playing or like what SEC football is like. You see it every week. What's it really like?
It's definitely different. I mean, obviously coming from the Big Ten and playing at Penn State and playing against those teams to then going to the SEC, I've gotten a lot of questions from media or anybody about the difference in the competition or the difference in the speed or the athleticism, what have you. It's really hard for me to like specifically say what's different about it, but other than the play on the football field, I just think that the hype and like the energy that the fans and the communities of the school bring to the games week in and week out, whether the teams are winless or undefeated, it's a huge event regardless of who's playing. The SEC, I'm not saying that it wasn't like that in the Big Ten, but I just think that across the board in the conference, there's just so much just hype and excitement around football, and a lot of people's lives revolve around the team and how we play. So it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of attention on us. But when you're playing well and you have a season like we had this year, it's exciting and it's good to have that attention.
Speaking of attention, I mean, Kentucky's had plenty of it for basketball. Football has sort of really progressed. And on New Year's Day, you led the Wildcats to a big win over Iowa. What went through your mind as soon as that clock hit triple zeros? You came away with the bowl game.
It was awesome. I mean, we've had to go through a lot of adversity these past few weeks, whether it's guys that are injured or illness that came through the team. Obviously, a lot of teams have dealt with the COVID pandemic throughout the past couple of years, and it's just people stepping up, people doing things that they haven't necessarily been asked to do all season, and to go in and to go to play in Orlando, whatever it was like, I think 100 degrees on the field, something that we haven't experienced all year like that. Going against a really good Iowa team, it was just a culmination of a lot of hard work and effort that this team has put together since May, or since the end of last season even. But it was awesome. Some people might not know, last year when I was at Penn State, I was given the opportunity to start a game against Iowa, and didn't necessarily play the best game. Actually got pulled and benched that game. And that's kind of when I had that conversation and thought process about maybe wanting to transfer and play at a different school. So to have the opportunity to kind of get a second lick in Iowa after seeing them and playing them a few times, and then coming out with a victory, it just kind of made me sit back and really think about all of the hard work I put together this whole past year and how much I've progressed as a person and a player.
I know it's been barely a week, even less than, since you last took the field, but we both know that the work doesn't really stop for you. So these next few months before you head back to your team, at least on the field, what do the next few weeks look like for you? And then what are you most looking forward to next year?
Yeah, right now, I mean, just this next week, it's just relaxing. I have a really good opportunity to spend some time with family here in Connecticut. I'm here until the 8th, so it's a quick turnaround, but at least I get to spend about a week with them before I head back to school. And until then, it's just chilling, relaxing, enjoying that win. But when we get to school, we're right back to business. We're right back to focusing on the off-season training, getting in shape, getting our bodies ready for next season, and doing whatever the strength staff and coaches asked of us to prepare ourselves as best as possible to perform even better next season. I mean, winning the Citrus Bowl this year, getting 10 wins, that's the standard for the program right now. And we want to raise that standard even higher. I mean, we want to win an SEC championship. We want to go to a New Year's Six bowl game. We want to go to college football playoff. I mean, those are lofty goals, but that's the next step from what we are right now as a program, and it's definitely possible. And to do that, we got to make sure that we can take advantage of every day and every training session available to us in the off season.
Last question for you. There is a kid, there will probably be many who watch you, have followed what you've done. And since Connecticut isn't always known as a football hotbed, they may be like, well, I don't know where I go next. What do you have to say to them as they try to progress throughout this offseason, the next few years? What do you have to say to them to get them ready?
It's been really cool to see how Connecticut has been able to produce recruits and prospects over these past 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, I think the classes, couple classes before me at that time, I might be wrong, but I felt like there was a flip in terms of like schools that were able to get their guys out in front of these coaches more easily, and Power 5 schools taking a chance on them. And it's not a chance. I mean, we produce good football players here, and I think that as long as you work hard and do your best to be exposed to the best as best as possible to all these different college coaches, I think that it's no longer an excuse that you're from Connecticut and that's why you're not being recruited. I think that if you're a good player, you're going to be found, and I think you might have to work a little bit harder to get those looks from those coaches. But if you do what's need to be done, you kind of just got to let everything take care of itself. I mean, it can be frustrating at times, but you just got to work hard and trust that your opportunities are going to come to you.
Well, thanks for your time. Congratulations on the bowl win. And we look forward to hearing more from you and seeing where else you go from here.
Thank you so much.